welcome to MandoBug Crafts, episode 42. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Hey, what's up? I'm Amanda. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the web as MandoBug, like Ravelry, and kind of recently Instagram. I love me some Instagram, don't you? Oh my goodness, it's the best for enabling, and I don't know, I enjoy Instagram more than I enjoy Facebook. Can I say that? But anyways, I'd like to welcome any of you new viewers out there. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to check me out. And of course, the biggest of thank yous to the returning viewers who come back every time I record. I can't say every week because I'm not that consistent, but I try. So, starting out the show with something I've learned. I know I usually try to have this be a technique or tip or trick that I have learned with my crafting, and I guess this is really a personal tip for myself. So I kind of had a whoops moment this week. Well, since the last time I recorded, it's almost been 2 weeks, I think. So let's start out with how this started, right? I learned to knit. Oh man, I was gonna look this up because I think my knitting anniversary is coming up. It was about this time last year that I learned to knit. So I know it wasn't until I met Lindsay. Lindsay, if you're a returning viewer, you know she's a really good friend of mine who has the Knitwim Diaries podcast, also on YouTube. It wasn't until I met her that I really learned to knit because I tried to teach myself and I failed. And once we became friends, she really helped me get the hang of it, and that was about last summer. So anyways, once I was able to knit, I took my filter off Ravelry. It used to be crochet only, and I did knit and crochet. And I found this pattern, and I loved it so much, and I just kept dreaming about what I was going to make it out of and what it looked like. So this is Princess and the Pea by Lily Go. It's a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. You may have seen it. It looks like this. I don't know if you can really see. My printer's not the best, but it kind of has like these really large leaves in it. And I know leaves are like a very common lace pattern, but just the way that it's laid out, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to have that in orange for fall. Have to. It's necessary. Well, last year when I went on the Atlanta shop hop, I thought I picked up yarn for it. I bought lace weight. It calls for fingering. So I decided to hold out on it. So most recently I was like, you know what, I need to knit this. This needs to happen. So I bought yarn for it. And it's nice yarn. So this is Dream in Color Smushy with Cashmere. And I mean, these are my colors, right? And it's that cashmere in there. Oh, it's lovely. And so this is the color I was going for. Kind of like an orange, almost burnt orange. Definitely fall. Something you'd see in a fall leaf. Well, this is one hank. Here's the other one. Oh yeah, wow, it's caked. And oh, you got all that wrapped around there. Yeah. So I went ahead and I bought the yarn and I picked up the beads for it. Kind of like a, oh, you get the reflection. They're kind of like a, I don't know, like a rusty, brownish, almost pinkish. But I want them to be dark enough that they show up. I don't want them just to glimmer in there. I want them to stand out. So yeah, I cast this on. And I cast it on a work night. And that was my mistake. So this is something I learned the hard way. I'm not working 12-hour days anymore. I'm only working 10-hour days, but still doesn't leave you much free time in the night after cooking and dinner and, you know, winding down before bed. I thought, you know, I really want to start this project. I'm going to go ahead and cast on. Well, this shawl, it is knit from the bottom up. So, and I'm making the medium size, the most I can get for my 800 yards that I purchased. I want a big wraparound shawl. So the cast on is 509 stitches. I have never cast on that many stitches before. It takes a long time. So it's a cable cast on, which I've done before, and I got all my 509 stitches on there, and I start the first row. and I dropped a stitch. And I could not for the life of me figure out how to pick up the cabled cast-on drop stitch. And so I ripped the whole thing out. So I have learned that it is a bad idea for me to knit anything semi. It was not even that it was complicated, it's just that that I made a mistake and I wasn't able to fix it. I can't do that on work nights. So I'm going to save this for a day that I'm not working, that I have time to actually get a solid cast on and move on. So some of you out there are probably like, oh no, I could have showed you how to fix that. I was just so frustrated when it happened that I just was like, ah! And I ripped it all up. There probably was a way to fix it. I tried, it just looked funny, it definitely stood out, and I got angry. Because this is my baby project. I've been wanting to do this for almost a year now, so I want it to be perfect. So, yeah. I mean, this will be coming in the future, but definitely learned that was not smart. So moving on to works in progress. I've made some more progress on the sunflower satchel that I was working on. So here's what I got. Oh, you can see it pretty well. I finished, and this is okay, so this is a paid for pattern. I don't think I mentioned that last time. I'm going to try to get better at mentioning whether they're free or I purchased them. But now I purchased this. I'm knitting this for Eat Sleep Knits third quarter. I think it's a knit along, craft along, whatever they're calling it. This is out of Noro Silk Garden, just plain, so it's their Aran weight. The pattern calls for fingering weight, but I messed that up. And so I'm making the small size, but it's turning out bigger than the large size, but I'm still happy. It's a good sized tote. So I finished the motifs, and all that's left is the bottom of the bag, the top of the bag, and the handle. So I did end up having to get more yarn. So this is a 349 colorway. I bought 2 more balls, although I don't think I'll need the 4th one. Oh well, I mean, I'll figure out something to do with it. But the bottom is like this mesh, this meshing. I think I need to finish this round and do a 3rd one, and then close up the bottom and then start the top. So I will say a quick note about this pattern if you like it and you're thinking about crocheting it. I'm using a G-hook with my Aran weight to try to get a tighter gauge. But so that's not the note. So sorry. The note is that before you purchase this pattern, make sure you're comfortable reading charts. I don't think I mentioned that last time. She has both the written and the charted pattern for this, but I guess I'm kind of old school in the sense that none of the patterns I started with had charts for crochet. It was all written, and so I prefer the written pattern. So I started following the written pattern, and I think it's on the large motif that it wasn't working out correctly, and I don't know if it's a mistake in the pattern, but I went and looked at the chart, and the chart made sense. And also in the written directions, these motifs are joined on the final round. That's not in the directions for the written portion. It doesn't explain to you how to connect these motifs in the final round. It just says connect them on the last round. Join as you go or something like that. So you really need to be able to read the chart to see how and where to connect these. I think a lot of people I've read in the comments have just made the motifs and sewn it together because that was easier for them. And I hate for you to end up doing that if that's not what you wanted. So that was my little tip on this pattern. Charts really aren't hard to read if you've never done it before, but I would try maybe something a little simpler than this. That's what I was going to tell you guys. I went and picked out the fabric for the inside. So this is a mesh purse. It's not something that you would want to put anything small in. So I just went ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make a lining for it. And I picked out the fabric. I don't know if you can see that. It's hard to kind of stretch it out. So it's like this mustardy brown. I thought it was a nice solid color that didn't really take away from the yarn. So This is normally not a color for me, but it was really the only color that I enjoyed with the yarn. So when I do finish the bag, I'm going to make a lining with a pocket and zip it shut. So it should be a nice tote to carry around. I'm excited. Very fall colors, my thing, you know. Then also I cast on, socks. You haven't seen these. So these socks I've started for my husband. I know I still have 2 pairs of socks that I've started for myself and not finished. But I saw this yarn and had to have it. Oh my goodness. So remember how I was talking about Instagram earlier? This yarn. I saw this yarn on Instagram and I was like, this is Josh's colors. My husband Josh absolutely loves green, and he really loves lime green, and this isn't necessarily like a lime green, although you can see it is bright. This is pretty true to color. I use a lot of natural light, so a lot of what you see is pretty true to color unless I'm like this. Then sometimes my camera white balances. But you can see even then, the color didn't change much. This is pretty much what you get with this yarn, and the pictures on Instagram are very true to color. So like I said, I saw this and I had to have it. So this yarn, I have the card. This yarn is from Lammy Toes. It's a cute little picture. And Lammy Toes is a new shop open on Etsy. The dyer is Amanda from the Not a Podcast. I think she's on iTunes and YouTube. I watch her on YouTube. I like to watch YouTube podcasts. But yeah, so I saw it on Instagram before I saw it on her podcast, and then I waited to see it on the podcast, and I was like, yep, nope, I'm buying it. So I have the yarn. It's a Superwash BFL 4-ply. It's 438 yards, and this is her Midori colorway. So this is the first time I'm knitting Josh wool socks because he has a habit of throwing things in the washing machine. So it is superwash. I think it can handle a couple accidents, but I feel like these should be good socks to train him, right? I'm gonna train my husband. That just sounds ridiculous. But as soon as I got the yarn in the mail, he was like, yes, I'm so excited. So I cast on. And so I'm knitting the Time Traveler socks by Liz Sedmick. They're the same. This is the same pattern that I used when I made his Seahawks socks. The only other pair of socks I've made him. And I just went ahead and used the same pattern because this is a free pattern. See, I'm getting better. This is a free pattern. But I like it because it's got this ribbing pattern across the top that you can see it stretches, and it's not like a 2x2 rib so that it's like scrunched up. It'll be like a 4x4x2 by 4x4x2, or it varies depending on the size. I believe I'm making him the large size, but this ribbing across the top really gives it room to play and fit his foot nicely, because this yarn is thicker than the yarn that I used for his first pair. So this is a little bit bigger. I'm still knitting them on US size 0s. So the same needle size, the yarn's just a little thicker, but he says they fit him just as well. So I think the ribbing has a lot to do with that. So if I ever wanted to knit him surprise socks, I have the recipe for this pattern, which I enjoy. This is a toe-up pattern, and I don't know if you can see, there is a increased gusset, and I just finished the heel. So I think you can see the gusset here. I am having a hard time seeing it. But all I have left to do is 2 inches of ribbing and bind off, because my husband wears ankle socks. He doesn't do anything longer than that. So I think it makes up for it, because his toe is so much longer than mine that I feel like knitting him ankle socks is how long it takes me to knit a full sock for myself. But as you can tell, I still have a lot of yarn left. So after I make him ankle socks, I should be able to make him a pair of gloves too. So we'll see. If not, I might just make myself a pair of socks as well, because there should be enough yarn for that. But yeah, I'm very happy with this purchase. Love this yarn and these socks. And the speckled, right? The speckled is in, and I really like the way that this speckles. So, so there's that project. And then finally, I been working on some baby blankets. I don't know if I showed you guys these fabrics or not, but I picked them up a while ago at Hancock Fabrics. They're a chain, but I don't know how big they are. But I finished one. So it's this very cute flannel print with animals on it, backed with like this, I don't know, but it's soft. You can see the lines in it. It's the same kind of fabric that the minky is. I always forget what that's called. But I get this minky-like fabric that's really, really soft, normally on sale when there's remnants. So normally it's somewhere ridiculously around like $12 a yard. But a lot of the times if you get a remnants cut, it's 50% off. So you can get it for like $6 a yard. And so I'll pick that up. So I had these piling up. And then I just went and got this flannel when it was on sale as well. And I grabbed a yard. Because normally, whatever the remnants is, it's usually just shy of a yard. Or nearing a yard. This one was actually a whole piece. So, here, I'll open it. There's no seam. It's all plain. And then the top is all the flannel. This is super cute. So that one's actually done. The other two I've sewn inside out, flipped them, ironed them, and they just need top stitching around the border. So we got frogs. And I think this one's my favorite because my favorite color is orange and Josh's favorite color is green. And so it's got both of our favorite colors on there, and it's just super cute. I know it's a little masculine, but still gonna wrap up a baby girl in here if it turns out that we're having a girl. So, and this one I actually have minky. It's green. And this one was one of the remnants that was a funky shape. So you can see the seam, right? I had to sew it together to make one whole piece. And so it does have a seam in the middle, but that doesn't bother me. I mean, the baby's not going to care. It's still a nice warm blanket. This is flannel on the top again. So I'm not going to complain. And then I think the same for this one, and this one's a little masculine too, but again with the green and the orange, right? So this one is like a dinosaur with dinosaur egg shells, and then the inside is like this orange soft plushy stuff again, like the minky. I don't know what it's called. But this one has a seam as well. I think you can see it. But, so I have a whole bunch of baby blankets now. Super excited for that. Can't wait for the baby to come. I get so excited. I've never been so excited and so scared about anything in my entire life. I'll be 20 weeks in like 2 days. So I'm just starting to show. I think you guys can see. Can you see? Move my chair. Just a little bit. There's just a little bit of a bump. But it's super exciting because I'm starting to feel the baby kick now, and it's really, really light. So sometimes it just tickles, but it's reassuring that something's in there, right? But anyways, moving on to finished objects. This guy around my neck. So I finished this guy since I've last recorded, and this is the Doncaster shawl by Holly Dapp. And this is a free pattern, and she's currently hosting a knit along for this pattern in her podcast group. So she is the host of the Swift Knits podcast. So I think it goes through the end of August. If you want to join along, you definitely can because it's a quick pattern. I used hand spun. This was the Gale's art that Lindsay got me from Stitches South. And I spun it up fingering weight, got like 430-ish yards, and was able to knit it into this pattern. So this is washed and blocked, so it has stretched quite a bit from when I finished it. You can see this is the long edge. These were very long rows at the end. You can see my striping got a lot shorter. But this is a super cute pattern, and it is big enough that excuse me, you could wear it like a regular shawl if you wanted to. It is definitely long enough to do that. I mean, it's still just as cute either way, but I do like to wear my shawls in the front as scarves. And you know, I feel like it's a gorgeous pattern either way. So I was nervous that I didn't have enough yardage to make a good size shawl, but the gauge that it was knit at, I used the US size 6 with the fingering weight yarn. It really stretched after blocking, and it gives it a really nice flowy drape, and it does become a nice size. So I'm very happy with this shawl. And actually, I think I'm going to take it off because it is still warm here. It is still summer. I just wanted to wear my new shawl. I'll have to save it for fall, which I hope comes soon, by the way, because summer's getting old, right? It's time to move on. So moving on to check it out. So check it out this week. I don't really have my normal things to share with you guys, but I thought this was pretty interesting, so I'll go ahead and share this. It's kind of hard to see now. Can you tell that was a mouse, or is a mouse? I mean, his ears are coming out. So when my brother and his girlfriend stayed with us for a couple months last year, I think, and she learned how to crochet. Well, my brother's girlfriend learned to crochet when she was here, and excuse me, she crocheted this mouse, and I don't really think her cats liked it that much, but Chester, my orange cat, found it and loves it so much that it's starting to become felted. I mean, he really likes his wool. So if you have any cats that get into your yarn, get into your unspun fiber, and are on restriction from your craft room a lot of the time, like mine is, you should think about knitting this little mouse with your scraps, because there's not a lot of, it doesn't take a lot of yarn to make. And I'm sure you have scraps of wool sitting around somewhere that even after maybe a hexapuff or a mitered square that you still have left over. And now that I have all that extra wool fluff from processing a fleece, I could stuff it with wool too, which I think will drive him nuts. So I'm planning on making him some more of these because he absolutely loves them. I think I put a video on Instagram, a short one. If I can find a way to put that in here, I will go ahead and do that too. But oh, that reminds me, so with the Doncaster shawl, Holly has written the pattern so that you do have enough yarn left over at the end to make a hexie puff or a mitered square with if you want. So I do have just this little bit of hand spun left, and I've never knit a hexie puff or a mitered square, so I think I might start one. I think I'm going to start the mitered square blanket, because that one's a little more appealing to me than the hexie puffs. Although if I did the hexie puffs, I could stuff them with the wool from, all my extra wool from processing fleece. Maybe I'll do both. I know that's really common, and I know this will take me a very long time if I do start it. But I am starting to get scraps now of fingering weight yarn, which I didn't have before. And I guess if I could knit them as I gain scraps, maybe I'll have a blanket in 5 years, right? But anyways, I'm moving on to current events. The Mindful Spin Along is still going on with the group. I just haven't been doing any spinning because I burnt myself out with Tour de Fleece. I just needed a little break. I am starting to feel the bug, the spinning bug coming back. I am itching to spin something again, so probably we'll start a project in the coming week. But if you don't know about the Mindful Spin Along, all it is to try to think of an end goal for your spinning. Instead of just sitting down and seeing what happens, like what is your goal? Do you want a certain weight? Do you want a certain ply? Do you know what you want to make with it when you're done? That kind of a thing, just to kind of be mindful about what you're doing with the fiber, because I know as a spinner, sometimes I just sit down and see what happens, and then afterwards I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have done this, because then whatever, right? Because I didn't think about it in advance, I just whee, which is really easy to do. So that will be running through the end of August. I still don't have the prizes yet, but like I said, I have premeditated what they will be. I am going to have 2 prizes. They will each be a braid of fiber with a project bag. So I don't have the fiber yet. I do have the fabric for the bags, but I'll keep that a surprise. 1 braid of fiber I will buy, and 1 braid of fiber I will dye. So that will be fun. So if you're interested, you still have until the end of the month. The only rules was that you're a member of the group and that you were mindful about it. You don't have to post in the group in advance that like this was your plan. Just, it's the honesty system, you know? As long as you had something in mind before you spun it, great, share it. And if you don't meet your goal, that is also completely okay. I didn't meet my goal with my spinning. So, yeah, I think that was it. All the details are in the MandoBug Crafts podcast group on Ravelry anyways. You can go check it out. But yeah, so get your entries in because you have pretty good odds. There's 2 prizes and there's only a handful of entries, so those are really, really good odds. So moving on to upcoming events. I am participating in the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery's Mysterious Halloween Town Club, and the 3rd clue is going to be coming out soon on August 21st, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then I am also going to be participating in Cloud's Factories, Cloud's Factory? They're Wacky Witches in Stitches Halloween Sampler, and the 1st clue comes out August 25th, so I'm also looking forward to that. And then, I was going to go ahead and announce, I know that the current spin-along that I'm hosting is almost over, and I'm going to be hosting another craft-along for 3 months. I feel like 3 months is a good time to get crafting in, and it's a good time for me to put together the giveaway part, because I'm really bad at getting prizes. And recording regularly. 3 months is a nice window. So the next craft along will be from September through November. So beginning of September through the end of November, and it will be a craft with hand spun along. So craft meaning whatever. If you want to knit with hand spun, crochet with hand spun, weave with hand spun, embroider with hand spun, I don't know. I have some singles left over from my lace weight that I plan to embroider something with in the future. So whatever you want to do with your hand spun, that will go in for that. I don't have the rules and it's far enough out that I'm not going to set up a thread yet, but I just wanted to get you guys thinking about it if you're interested in it. I figured it'd be a nice craft along that goes with, you know, at the end of the spin along. So you spin along, now you have hand spun craft along, right? That's logical. Plus I have a stash of hand spun. Where is it? This one? Yes, all that in that box is hand spun. Not that one. That one. This box right here is all hand spun. So I need to get to using my hand spun. My hand spun. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So I hope you guys made something awesome while you were knitting and chatting with me. I guess this was really a one-sided chat, but you can always chat back with me online. But yeah, so I hope you made something awesome. I hope you guys have a great day, great week, and I will see you in a week or 2. Bye!